What's going on YouTube? It is JV and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to go over every professional wrestler that has put me on their Instagram story from the year 2021 till current day. So let's roll that intro and get started. Alright, Ace Army, thank you for clicking on this video. Today, as you saw by the title, the thumbnail, and the intro part of this video, we are going over every professional wrestler that has put me on their Instagram story from when I started mentioning them on my story from 2021 till January 2023. So this is obviously going to change throughout time. So this is going to be like a yearly thing, like we do our t-shirt collection, jersey collection, stuff like that. Speaking of jersey collection, the jersey collection video will be coming up in the next couple weeks, maybe next week or the week after. I do not know yet, but let's get right into this. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's see who the first wrestler was to put me on in 2021. All right, up first, we are going to talk about a wrestler that has put me on her story a total of 11 times. This is crazy. I haven't been putting her much on my story as of recent because I spam the hell out of that. And if you want to follow my Instagram, in the description under the link tree. But the first wrestler to do this 11 times and the first ever wrestler to put me on their story was former AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. She has put me on all those times. I truly appreciate everything she has done. She is definitely one of my favorites in All Elite Wrestling, which I'm expecting a return soon. I don't know when that's going to happen. But speaking of Thunder Rosa, there is an AEW card pack with her on it, and I definitely have the box down here. She's on there right next to Darby and Hangman. But she put me on. I'm going to put pictures of when she put me on so you guys can see. So I'm not making this up like throughout when I'm talking, but it means a lot to see a former women's champion do this, especially since she's one of the best in All Elite Wrestling. And I'm just expecting her to return soon. And let's get on to the next wrestler. The next person to put me on their story is technically a wrestler from AEW, technically a fighter, but that person is known as Paige Van Zant. She put me on her story probably like 2 years ago now. It's when the Inner Circle was feuding with American Top Team, I think they were called, with All Ego, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Dan Lambert, the UFC fighters, and Paige, obviously. So this happened when Chris Jericho said, well, maybe you should put it on your OnlyFans page. You guys know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. If not, research it yourself. But here's the screenshot right there of when she put me on her story. And that was hilarious because I did not expect her to put it on. As you can see, it says, actually it's fan time. Check like link in bio or whatever it says. But I found that hilarious. But let's get on to the next wrestler. The next professional wrestler to put me on their story was the woman known as Penelope Ford. She put me on her story when Ty J, which is Ty Conti or Ty Mello now, and Anna J, they took on the Bunny and Penelope Ford in that Rampage match where there was blood all over the women, which was nuts, crazy. One of my favorite women's matches of all time, and definitely one of my favorite matches in AEW history. But I truly appreciate Penelope for doing this because it means the world. One of my favorites in the company does this. She's definitely in my top 5, top 10. She wasn't my top 5, but she might have moved out of there throughout me watching AEW. But here is a screenshot there of when she did it. And if you haven't watched that match, I suggest you going back to watch it. Next up, it's not a wrestler technically, but she is signed to All Elite Wrestling, and she is part of the best trio in all of AEW and in pro wrestling, female edition. It's funny because all females put me on their story, which is kind of cool, honestly. But that person is known as Rebel, the manager of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and the current AEW Women's Champion, Jamie Hayter. She has put me on a number of times. She's put me on every time I said the best trio in pro wrestling. I actually mean that for the women at least, because you have the Pillar, the Killer, and the Thriller. Is that what they call her? I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put it on the description, or you guys can leave me in the comments. But she just put me on. At the time I'm recording this, it's Wednesday night, and you know what that means, AEW happened. So she put me on when I took a video of those three and put them on. So she put me on pretty quick, like an hour after I put it on my story. So I thought that was awesome. And it's always cool to have one of your favorites put you on your story. And speaking of favorites, let's get into the final person. And last but not least, finally, we have former AEW Women's World Champion, Women's Owen Hart Tournament winner, I think it's called. And you know who it is. It is the doctor. She will see you now. It is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. My favorite women's wrestler of all time. She put me on an Instagram story, and I flipped the heck out, guys. Like, I went nuts when this happened, because I did not expect her to do it. She's been viewing my story here and there, and then she finally did it. She's only did it once, or done it once, so we're expecting a second time here in the coming future. But, oh my god, to have your favorite women's wrestler of all time do this is nuts. Here's a screenshot there. When she did it, it was awesome. Flipped the heck out, like I just said earlier. But you guys are probably wondering, Britt Baker's your favorite women's wrestler of all time? Like, get a better choice in women's wrestling. But truly, she's from my hometown. I love her moveset, love her entrance, everything about her mic skills. It's just great to me. So that's why she's my favorite women's wrestler of all time. But besides that, she put me on her story. So it's a big accomplishment for me. And I truly appreciate that she did. Alright guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry this was pretty short, honestly. I just had to get this out there because I thought it was a good video idea that I haven't seen done before, honestly, on YouTube. So I decided to put it out there. We're going to be the first ones to do it, if not one of the first. And I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you tomorrow for Universe Mode, episode number 53. Take care, guys. See you soon.